Yo, where do my
Hey, owner.
Yeah, swear to God, I'm banning everyone. But
all
no, go
right.
for it.
All right, Q1 2025, banger. Generational retrace. We had the tariffs ripping through our fucking portfolios and the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq taking out a ridiculously high amount of sell side liquidity coming down, finishing monthly models just within this last week. We were taking out significant areas of liquidity. Um, so we're getting primed. I mean, I honestly think, of course, the long term for the Nasdaq and the S&P for everyone in the world is bullish, obviously, because it's pretty much the fucking world economy, the U.S. economy. Um, Now that we're taking this high time frame liquidity, how are you guys looking at the indexes as a whole going forward?
I'm not gonna lie, bro. We're dumping. I
We're
don't think
dumping?
we've I don't think we've made a good low yet. I mean, I
Mhm.
have my eyes probably at the 17,000-ish, maybe even this monthly BISI here.
Yeah.
This is personally what I'm looking at. I don't think, I mean, at least the way that I'm looking at this, the technicals
Mhm.
does not say that we're done. I mean, we
Right.
did just run this. We are about to run this external here.
Yeah.
We have these lows here that I think we still have to run all the way down here. And the way this
Yeah.
looks to me here is looks like we had our original consolidation up here.
Mhm.
We dumped down. We have our first stage here, right? So we should come down one more time. I think these lows definitely seem like the obvious. This one and this one seem a little bit obvious here. Look at the weekly here, right? And then we probably have this, even this swing low, and then even this swing low all the way down here in the 17,000s that I think we can even get down
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I
Now
don't think,
that would really be generational.
yeah, I don't think we're coming up for a good amount of time for now. At least that's what the technicals are saying. So I'm gonna stick to that.
I like that.
Um,
I like that. Technical analysis is what we focus on at the end of the day.
Anyways, yeah, and also, so we had this first quarter, right? As we understand, kind of like the PO3 kind of thing, the accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Fuck, I can't speak. Right. So we have 12. Well, it's kind of like right like this, right? What the fuck is TradingView doing, bro? All right, we have AMDX, right? So the idea behind this is that in the first 3 months, right? 3 months, which would be from Jan to March, right? Jan to March, around here is going to be a accumulation phase, right? And then the next 3 months, which is from like April or whatever, right? The next 3 months are going to be that manipulation phase. It can even be shorter, right? And then the next 3 months, it's going to be that distribution phase. And then the next 3 months, here making out 12 months, is going to be that X phase, which it could be just a continuation of the distribution, right? So what we've seen so far is that we had that January, right? Starting from here, that January consolidation. Here, that January all the way up to late February, right? And then coming into March, we did kind of dump, but we can also look at it this way, being our 3 month quarterly shift was actually this December here, starting our 3 month consolidation here, which would be our accumulation like here, right? And then now we're finally starting to manipulate down. And I think we have a good amount lower that we can manipulate down here, all the way to over here before we just start expanding for the next part of the next 3 months. I don't think we'll probably be dumping for the next 3 months. Probably like maybe May or late April, I think, depending how fast we start coming down and what the technicals start saying once we get down towards this area down here that, you know,
Could consolidate, could give somewhat of a retrace, you may call it, but the drawn liquidity is that low. What you're saying?
I think at least for your low hanging fruit, right? We have this one. This is the easy target. I think next target is this, and like ideally we have this, right? So something we can do very simply is we can kind of draw our implied dealing range, and we can see what's up with it. So let's pull this up here. We'll draw our implied dealing range from this high all the way down to this low here, right? Or we can even draw it out to this low, whatever it may be, right? And this is kind of what we're looking at. Let me like flip this shit here, right? And then this is kind of what we're looking at like this. We can even do I mean, you can choose which low you think it's going to end at, but looking at it kind of like this right now, right? We kind of consolidated around this EQ area, marking our first stage, reaccumulation here. So I do think that we do come down lower, probably take out this liquidity here, have another low consolidation before we do one more run down here, give us a little smart money reversal, and we'll start heading all the way back up to these highs soon eventually. And this is probably how it's going to play out. Looks like a giant market maker model here. That's kind of the way that I'm seeing it.
Love that. Yeah, great use of just technical analysis on a high time frame bias. No need to overcomplicate it or anything. Wilkes, do you have anything that you want to add on top of that? Just about how you do see us moving on a higher time frame going forward into Q2?
I really wanted to say that it looks like a big ass market maker model, just as Exotic said. That's
Absolutely.
only what's on my mind. Yeah, about the accumulation that we see on the daily. It's
Yeah.
big. It's big. Manipulation to the downside. I think we're gonna go lower 100%.
Yeah.
At least those lows. But for me, I'm waiting for it to manipulate into some sort of PD array, so FVG, anything.
Yeah. On the higher
Level-
time frame, then though, you mean like a weekly PD array, a daily
Yeah,
PD
yeah,
array?
yeah. Like a
monthly.
weekly or a daily PD array.
Yeah.
So now we are in a weekly fair value gap bullish, but I still think
Yeah.
we're gonna go a little lower.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I don't think we're done yet. Arlie, anything you would want to add on to that?
For those forcing longs right now, just don't, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, I mean,
No reason to go
there's
against
a
the
lot
trend.
of people wanting to catch the bottom. I don't think that's a good idea. Always
Nope,
wait for
that's FOMO.
structure, right? And
Yeah.
I always do say, yo, just scale it on the daily time frame. What are we looking like?
Mhm.
Right? Bearish until it tells you it's bullish.
Yeah, I agree. So like for Exotic, for you to, let's say it comes down and let's say it takes those low resistance, draws on liquidity, maybe even comes all the way down to that imbalance. What would you be waiting for to see on a higher time frame for your bias to switch then to long, switch to bullish? Maybe if you would assume we're going to be in some kind of consolidation area, accumulation, what would it take for your bias to change there?
Well, first things first, we're gonna want to see, at least at the minimum, I think, that after, like, at least personally, right, if we are going to choose to do another dump as we've seen right here, right, I want to see a decent sized consolidation, right? If this is going to be another low resistance run down, like the exact same we've had here, I want to see a pretty drawn out, maybe like a month or even a little bit less, probably like a 2 week long consolidation at least, maybe a little longer, depending on how much we drop and how quickly. And obviously, the quicker that we drop, the more I want to see us consolidate here. So ideally, if we were to just completely come down here, I want to see a pretty big retracement here, and then I want to start to see at least some bearish PD arrays, some bullish PD arrays start to fail. Obviously, if we come down into here, this monthly gap, it is going to be, I'm going to treat this a lot differently than if we were to do something like that, like up here, you know? Obviously, this monthly
Absolutely.
gap is going to be my main draw on liquidity. I think this is where we are going to go, and I really want to see, depending on what kind of like delivery we have on the downside. If we have something like this, right, or even quicker, I want to see a pretty good consolidation. The quicker we drop, the bigger consolidation I want to see, if that makes sense. So we have a more balanced delivery on the
Yeah.
way down. For example, like something like this, if it starts to become a little bit more high resistance, then I'm not expecting a big consolidation. Maybe just a little bit of a one, something that looks like a smart money reversal, a market structure shift, change its state of delivery, breaker, whatever that's going to be, and then start to see some daily PDA arrays start being formed and being respected. Then that's going to allow me to start changing my overall bias. But for now, I'm just going to have to see exactly how we dump. If it's going to be a quick dump like this, then it's going to be, in my opinion, I want to see a pretty long and drawn out consolidation. As the quicker we dump and the bigger the dump, the more and the longer a consolidation that we need.
100%, 100%. So you'll be playing with the trend then that's bearish now until we take out, one of those high areas, and then prove bullish with order flow.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing
Yeah.
nothing in the technicals tell me that we have any room
Yeah.
to be going higher
Yeah.
at all. Not yet.
Yeah. And there's no
Definitely
reason
gonna
to try to catch the bottom or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely gonna want to see how this low here is gonna be reacted upon on the next week's closure, right?
Yep.
If we're gonna displace through that, or if we're gonna get a pretty nasty wick that comes like all the way down here and a nasty wick that closes up here, right? But for now, there's absolutely nothing that's telling me that we are bullish at all. And I think we dumped down for quite a bit.
But I would say, as we know, a lot of people got baited into thinking that we are retracing to the upside.
True.
As I trade internal to external, external to internal. We obviously tap into a daily FVG, retrace into some sort of equilibrium on the 4 hour or 1 hour,
Yep.
and we dump down again. So what I'm looking for is the daily FVG, the bullish. If it gets inversed, I'm still bearish.
Hmm.
Long time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we summarized, kind of the bias and the thought process going into Q2 pretty well. Um, Now, in terms, I mean, is there anything else that you guys would have that you want to talk about how Q1 was? Any lessons you may have learned? I mean, I know for me, for a first time experiencing a year end going into a Q1, so I know like this big dump retrace was definitely a little bit unfamiliar for us. Um, everyone was saying fucking 8:30, open your chart and just short. That was something that we probably hadn't really seen too much before. Um, So yeah, I mean, something I learned was just really playing with the trend. There's no reason to feel like you're catching a bottom, or trying to catch a bottom. That's just retarded. You're just going against, your emotional rules. That's directly tying emotion into the market, thinking that you're going to catch something instead of just reacting to what's being shown to you, um, and playing with the market. Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was a pretty good Q1 overall,
So
for
for
sure.
me, the biggest
Oof.
takeaway is what Q1 taught me was being extra patient, right? So what I
Yeah.
started doing is focusing more on main trades instead of all the trades that I see, right? Because
Yeah,
with all the stuff that I've learned in the past, there's a lot of opportunities, right? You could catch longs, shorts, whatever you want. You could make money in the market anyway. But especially with conditions like Q1, it taught me how to be extra patient, right? And being extra patient for waiting for those main setups, especially.
100%, 100%. Because there is just building on that. I mean, that's what it is. There's a lot of opportunity everywhere in the market. I mean, you're gonna go on these calls. I mean, in terms of like the viewers would be on these calls or anything like that every day and see people taking, longs, shorts, fucking break even, all that kind of stuff. But it's about being patient and minimizing the losses. There's going to be wins in everywhere you look, but it's minimizing the losses. That's how you really strive and become better than the rest. So it's keeping that patience, keeping a clear head, and playing with the bigger time frame is how to do that.
Yeah, I do think Q1 was definitely a rough one. It's always hard trading in this consolidation, but I think as we come into April, March, we already saw price action start to get better, at least in my personal opinion. I don't know about you guys,
Yeah.
but March definitely showed way better price action than what we've been seeing January, February.
Yep.
I think that better price action is gonna come. Even better price action is gonna come in my personal
Hey
experience.
man, if February doesn't March, April, May.
In my personal experience, the spring to summer is the best price action we're gonna have, and
Hell
it's
yeah.
I think it gets better. I think probably May June is probably gonna be out like probably the best price action we're gonna have for a while. So I think
Yeah.
price action is just gonna get better and better as the months start going, and as long as we just have a clear direction. And it seems once we got out of this consolidation, we found a clear direction. It made it
Yeah.
really easy to just find that direction
Yeah.
here.
Agreed. And prices definitely, I mean, in my experience with my knowledge, I would say price has been pretty efficient recently. Especially within this past week. I mean, we've been respecting PD arrays and going with order flow and tapping into liquidity voids and moving off of that correctly. Whereas for a while, we had kind of just been going wherever and being forced to react to, somewhat inefficient price action where we're then going to like different inverses and things like that. So yeah, I would agree. It's definitely clearing up and I can expect to see good price action for the spring. Yeah,
Q1 is
awesome.
gonna teach a lot of people how to be patient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last Q1 taught me to be a lot patient.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so be really careful every year. This is every Q1 from the start doesn't have a good price action. From my experience, I've lost quite a lot when I started because I started in Q1, you know. So
How many
my
years have you been
days,
trading, Wilkes? Sorry to interrupt you.
two
2?
2
Okay.
years.
Just so we know for the
So
record, but yeah.
I started at Q1 and it was not good.
Mm.
So I'll from my experience, I would say start later.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and the Q1 can teach its lessons, the hard way, or the little bit less of a hardware. You can either be blowing accounts and losing money, or you can just be preserving capital and still recognizing that you have to have that patience and still learning the lesson without taking a loss. Do we want to go over Wilkes's edge and how he's been performing our little Wilkes interview, or do we want to save that for a different day?
Look, yeah, no, that's gonna be something for a different day. Definitely gonna be more structured. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go deep into how our OPT member Wilkes has been consistently getting payouts.
Yeah,
So stay tuned
big
for that
payouts
for
too.
sure.
Shout out
Exactly,
Wilkes.
exactly. So we'll have a separate video on that. It's not gonna be covered today.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, that's a pretty good outlook for Q2 and good summary
Yeah.
for Q1.
Agreed.
Like I said, always be patient, just scale out on the higher time frame. That would
Mhm.
save you so many losses.
Look at the daily, big bro. Look at the weekly. We're all good. Take a deep breath. Play with the bias.
Yeah, another
Um,
thing is just don't force trades. Just be patient, wait for your main setup. That's all it is. Like a lot of
Wait
the
for that
losses
SMT.
yeah, a lot of the losses that I see in our last chat is a lot of them are forced. All right, they're forced trades. They didn't wait. They weren't patient enough for that retrace. Just work on that, and then that loss channel should be a W channel pretty soon.
yeah. And I mean, we do still the loss channel is imperative for the growth. I'm not gonna lie, I almost just ate shit and fell off the treadmill. No bullshit. My foot like half hit the
Nice,
like the
nice.
right side where it doesn't move. Yeah. Thank God there's not a lot of people looking. But no, yeah, I mean the loss channel is imperative because it's a hard journey. So being able to look at the losses of not only yourself but other people, and not compare, but instead build off of that and learn lessons without having to take the loss is huge. So
Exactly.
and
Well,
even the best traders take
a
losses
lot
too.
of the
So
losses that I notice are the same things. They're 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 losses from a same reason, same cause. So
yeah,
that's why I bring it up. But definitely learn from these mistakes. Don't make them again.
100%.
From the audience, like, do we have any questions or something that you guys want us to cover? Go back
Yeah,
to.
big worm. Hey, big worm, you got anything you wanna throw in there with a BBL with a BBL Hummer?
Bro. No questions. Okay, I mean, this should
Questions
sum
always.
up the outlook
AW.
aspect of the whole session. So I think
No,
we'll
yeah, and
we'll
it's
call it here. We'll wrap it up here for
yeah,
sure.
I agree.
Yo, weird question.
Yes.
What do you guys think of structure shifts on the daily?